Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 2 of the Beyond the Degree podcast with MBP. Today, we have a very special guest, Connor Kelly, a Cal Poly alumni who is now working at EY's San Francisco office as a senior consultant in their tech risk practice.
While at Cal Poly, he was part of the MBP cohort in 2019 and was an ambassador for the Orfila College of Business. So, with that being said, let's get on to the podcast. Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to Beyond the Degree with MBP. We have an amazing guest today, Connor Kelly, who is a senior consultant at EY in their tech risk sector, working in their San Francisco office. Thank you so much, Connor, for coming, taking some time out of your day to talk to us. If you could list maybe some of what are you doing now? How your time was at Cal Poly, your involvements, hobbies, some things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the intro, Tony. So it's nice to meet y'all. My name is Connor. Like Tony said, I'm a senior consultant. That's a new promotion at EY doing technology risk. We can get like into the like nitty-gritty of the work later, but I guess at my time at Cal Poly, I was part of MBP my freshman year. I was also an OCOB ambassador. I did some work with Mustang Consulting, and I was part of Delta Sig, the business fraternity.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That's so cool. It's like always nice to hear like everyone's involvements. It's like all like correlated and it's pretty cool just to see where everyone ends up. Like we got Elise at PwC and like you at EY. But I guess like to start us off, kind of ease us into this podcast for everyone who's listening. Connor, what was one of your favorite memories at Cal Poly? It can be something professional, something non-academic, anything that that really highlighted your time at Cal Poly.
Totally. Honestly, like it's kind of a cliche answer, but it really is hard to like choose just because there were so many like amazing memories that I made at my time at Cal Poly. I think probably some of the biggest ones are just like those super spontaneous, like someone sends a text message after class who's trying to hit Pirates Cove or who's trying to go to Avila right now. Like I'm from LA originally, and so like definitely like a California kid, like loved how much I was able to just run off to the beach, like on a Wednesday in the middle of like the school week or whatever. So definitely some incredible memories there. I know you guys mentioned that sh Elise's was shebang. As someone who attended that shebang with Elise, definitely was a great memory. Um, but I think on the professional side, it's an interesting question. There were a lot of really cool things I was involved with during my time at Cal Poly. I actually also worked in the dean's office, and they had this really cool kind of opportunity come across where they were trying to look at professors' research and how our professors' research was tying into these like UN social progress initiatives. And so I was able to work with some kids that were part of the like the Python coding classes, and we were doing this like kind of natural language processing like sentiment analysis to see how like Cal Poly professors' research papers, if they fell into like similar categories as these UN social progress initiatives. So I don't know, it was really cool because for me it was very much like the Cal Poly learn by doing mindset of like how can we get involved and like see that our professors are doing work that is actually like relevant culturally and socially.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that like connection between like professional and like being a student. It's like college and like especially Cal Poly's learn by doing is like right in the middle of like a sandwich of like the unknown and the known. But yeah, I know also relating to your going to the beach, like Tony and I are both from Orange County,
From the
Yeah,
from beach,
it's
same place. So like we definitely relate to like
yeah.
the running to the beach and all.
Being able to be 15 minutes away from the beach, having those events, just like I can relate totally to you there, where someone just goes, "Hey, let's go to the beach, let's do this, let's do that." It's honestly one of the perks of being at such a great school like Cal Poly.
Mhm.
But I also kind of want to build on what you were talking about with the dean's office. I know you said like being able to really like tangibly see like work go into like be put into place and how it can like correlate to other things. How do you think like I know you're in consulting now. How do you think like Cal Poly's learn by doing models like taught to their students? Do you think it's like pretty like is it actually like very relevant throughout our coursework, or how have you seen it now like pop up in your either career? How did you see it help you now?
totally. Yeah, great question. I think that it's definitely taught in the coursework to an extent, but if I'm going to be honest, like my time at Cal Poly was not defined by the classes I took necessarily. I think that Cal Poly allows for that. Like, everybody, I'm sure everybody will list off their elevator pitch, or everybody's Cal Poly LinkedIn has a million different like organizations they're a part of. And I definitely say that I learned as much, if not more, from the organizations I was a part of than like what I learned in class. So like yeah, learn by doing like Mustang Consulting, shout out to Mustang Consulting. We were working with like real clients and like real people and honestly like gaining like real tangible skills. And the biggest thing with learn by doing when you're kind of looking post grad is, you know, you submit your resume like as a college student. But when you get to those interviews, they're not going to be asking you like, what did you learn in Biz 395? Um, they
Right.
want to hear like what like tangible experience do you have? And it's tough as a college student to have like relevant work experience. But when you can speak on, oh, with Mustang Consulting, we actually did these X projects, or um, even other orgs. Like, I mean, I also worked for Flume, which was a Cal Poly startup. And I mean, I was just doing like customer service stuff for them. But the way that you can talk about like the soft skills you learned from like working for a Cal Poly startup and on just like how you align with a message based on that, I think that kind of stuff translates to the real world a lot better than like just coursework.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess like kind of like bouncing off that, like because you did consulting and you did all these things like at your time at Cal Poly, like what did you envision your life was going to turn out like while you were at Cal Poly? Did you think the position you currently have was something that you were going to do when you first came into Cal Poly? Like you were kind of like, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to join and who I'm going to be. And or was it kind of like trial and error here at Cal Poly and then like you ended up in a position that you were not entirely sure of, or what was that experience like for you?
Totally, yeah. I mean, I'll say like for anybody who is like a freshman or a sophomore and is like, I don't have it figured out yet. I came to Cal Poly like no idea what the next like 4 years was going to be like or what I was supposed to be doing after those. Like I showed up day one and we talk about having a 2 year or a 5 year plan. Like my plan was one semester or one quarter, I guess. So I chose actually like specifically chose business because I felt it gave me the most like opportunity to choose later. I was always really jealous of like my friends who are like, I want to be a doctor or I want to be a lawyer. Like those kids who seem to just have it figured out in high school because I so was not that person. Um, and yeah, so that's why I chose business because I felt like it was broad and widely applicable. And then honestly, just like along the way, going to different like concentration panels and honestly, mostly it was leveraging like older students, like my friends that were juniors and seniors, seeing what their like actual classes were like, gave me the most like of an idea of what, okay, here's what marketing would look like. Here's what finance would look like. You know, here's what accounting would look like. I don't know if that's for me necessarily type thing. So, uh, yeah, I definitely found it along the way. It wasn't something that I came in with like, I want to be, no 6 year old is like, I want to be a consultant when I grow up.
Yeah.
You
Right.
have to learn.
I really love that because I was completely in your shoes. I had no idea what I exactly wanted to do. And like for me especially, I was very lucky enough to like have like you third, fourth years I could talk to. But what would you like give any more advice to like those first and second years who like I know like sometimes it can be intimidating. You're like, oh, they're a fourth year, like they probably aren't like they don't want to talk to me, but like how would you say like the culture is at least at Cal Poly with like talking to upperclassmen, asking them questions? Because I think like for me at least, it's always been super positive, and I don't know if it was similar to when you were here at Cal Poly.
No, totally. I mean, I think that the kids that go to Cal Poly are just some of the most like personable, charismatic, and like warm-hearted students. And so if you're someone who like maybe doesn't have that older network and you're scared to reach out, I would like honestly not be afraid at all. Like there's so many people that want to talk about what they're doing because I think Cal Poly kids have a lot of passion, and when you get someone to talk about their passion, like they're just open and willing to do that. I'd even say go one step further. Cal Poly's network is so incredible, and like the alumni network is so willing to get back and willing to talk to you about what like they're doing on the day to day. And I think that Cal Poly's alumni network is incredibly real. Like they will tell you if they like what they're doing, and they'll tell you if they don't like what they're doing. And so, I mean, Tony, you reached out to me for this. I can give you the name of 10 other people who would love to be on a podcast like this, talking to students, like trying to give whatever advice they have. So, yeah, I wouldn't be afraid at all. Like, hit some LinkedIn DMs, hit some Instagram DMs, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah,
Cold calling on LinkedIn. It's
I
it's the
know.
way to do it.
I
Yes.
know. I guess,
Honestly,
yeah. On that note, how do you like your position now since like you were kind of called towards like some a position like that after studying accounting? How are you liking working at a Big Four, which is one of the big accounting firms?
totally. Yeah, I mean, so I did IS that was like my concentration was IS because I found that like I liked the technical aspect of it. I realized I probably wasn't going to be like a software engineer. Like I didn't want to go that deep into it, but I did like the complexity that it kind of afforded me. And so with my current position, like I do technology risk audit, and or technology risk consulting. And so like I do work for an accounting firm, but I'm not a CPA and I really don't do like actual accounting work. A lot of what I'm doing is looking at applications, understanding the inner workings of that application to ensure that they're in compliance with government regulations. Um, and yeah, like I mean, to be honest, what everybody says about the Big Four, like it definitely can be a grind at times. It definitely can be intense at times. I think it's given me like a lot of incredible opportunities, but it can also be very client dependent. And so I've just been super lucky. Like I've had essentially two major clients that have kind of defined my career, and they're both like pretty sick technology clients. And like we get to go to their offices, and I'm getting breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and like boba, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because they're like tech companies, like, the people there are really cool. Everybody's extremely passionate and motivated. And like, it's nice for me, like, to be in San Francisco to feel kind of, I don't work in tech, but I'm like a little bit involved in that kind of field. So that's been like, honestly, really good for me. But I mean, I know a lot of people that are like deep in their CPA grind and they're like,
Yeah.
this is a grind. So.
Totally.
Yeah.
Is there like when I know you mentioned earlier like concentration panels as well as other things, but like I like when choosing your concentration, because I know you did IS for both having like the technical as well as like the business background. Is there anything like what made you like be drawn towards tech? Are you working like with consulting specifically with tech companies or like what are you doing specifically like throughout consulting?
Totally, yeah. So I mean, more specifics on my job title. Yeah, so I'm a technology risk consultant, and like my industry specifically is tech companies. So what I'm doing is essentially, uh, I mean, obviously, like Cal Poly is, you guys know the Big Four, you guys know like how accounting works. All publicly traded companies like are audited, and so they get audited by like an external auditor, typically one of the Big Four. What I'm doing is I'm helping these companies prepare for that external auditor to come in. So the external is kind of like the big bad guy of like you have to have everything, in compliance. And
Yeah.
what I do is before the external gets here, I'm taking a look at these systems and I'm saying, okay, this looks good, but this system might not be up to code, and this system needs this here to kind of like prepare them for that external. What the day to day looks like is essentially the clients I'm working on are specifically tech companies, and so they have a lot of like homegrown applications that they've coded themselves. And what I need to do is that ensure that the way that these applications are coded is in compliance with like government law. So
Right.
I don't code myself explicitly, but I'm like reading a ton of code, analyzing like to make sure that the functionality of this code is what they say that functionality is. There's a lot of like SQL queries that are also happening in the background there. So shout out whatever SQL class that was, 393 or something.
Three.
Um, so yeah, it's like technical to an extent that I need to understand what is happening in these applications, but it's not so technical that I'm the one building them.
And or
Yeah. I mean, this is interesting to me because I'm information systems as well. And I feel like when talking to someone from a big four firm, I typically hear a lot of like accountant and stuff like that. So I'm curious as to how like the team that you worked with, how they prepared you for that. position specifically because that sounds like at least me, I'm like a third year, like kind of like a bit of a big jump. And I know
Mhm.
maybe other people who are listening are probably curious how you go from like being a student to jumping into a position like that. That sounds like it entails like a lot of responsibility.
Totally. I mean, like I'm coming up on 3 years now, so it's not like I've honestly learned so much on the job that, when I see first years coming into my office, I don't expect them to have, this depth of knowledge. Um, and especially because half the people we hire are from Cal Poly. So like I know that you guys took the same class as I did. I know what I knew back then. Um, but yeah, I mean like as much as, the intro to IS or the intro to Python course was like incredibly helpful to give me like foundational principles, I do think that for my specific role, there is a bit more like technical complexity to it than what I learned there. But those principles were like the foundation of like what my future learning was on. Um, so I guess like that's a lot of words, kind of all to say that you'll learn it on the job. Like the Big Four knows who they're hiring, or any company knows when they're hiring a college grad that they don't expect you to have it all figured out. But what they want and honestly what they're looking for is someone who is coachable and like excited to learn. And so I came in, with a foundation of like some kind of technical background. I'd done some projects like the dean's office project. But I came in with this idea of like, well, I found that interesting and I want to know more. And my job has given me that opportunity.
That's great.
That's awesome.
That like eases a little bit of like that stress of like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I didn't be a professional before I start working.
I
But yeah,
took the same course as you are, so don't
yeah.
worry.
Totally. Oh,
Okay. So I guess as we like finish off, like if Tony wants to ask like a little ending question.
yeah. I know we kind of asked you before a little bit about like your favorite memories at Cal Poly, but if you had to give like right now, obviously every year seniors graduate and they're entering the workforce. What's like one piece of advice that like either like what piece of advice would you give graduating seniors now, right before they're about to either enter their full-time job, they're still looking for it. Like what would you tell them, just to kind of give them some good advice before they leave Cal Poly?
Totally. Honestly, go teach English in Spain for a year. Like I and that is a joke, but it's like not a joke at the same time.
Yeah.
I studied I took a quarter off my senior year and like went and traveled with some of my friends. And I actually now can't believe that that was not what I brought up for my favorite memory. Like the memories I made while abroad are like things that will stick with me for forever. And whenever I see those kids, it's always like the first thing we talk about is like, yo, bro, remember Florence, whatever. But I will definitely say like, as a senior, I feel like there's a lot of opinions as to your next steps, and a lot of people have a lot of ideas about what they want for you to do next. Your parents, your friends, whatever. But at the end of the day, like your decisions, you have to live out. And so if there's something you want to do that might not be like a traditional career path, um, just go do it. Honestly, like I feel like there's a lot of pressure on students nowadays to kind of have things figured out. If you don't get your sophomore internship, then you're not going to get your third year internship, and that third year internship is how you get your offer or whatever. But honestly, when you get to the real world, or not the real world, but like corporate, whatever, you understand that it's honestly not as the path isn't as set in stone as you think it would be. I've been very fortunate to still be with my company since I graduated, but like a lot of my friends are on their second or even their third job at this point, because life happens. Things just happen, and whatever your plan might have been, it might no longer be your plan. So honestly, like, yeah, I mean, I have some friends who went and did the Spain thing for a year and they're back and they're already doing corporate America and they're not like 1 year behind. They're honestly like just where I am now. So do
Yeah,
it.
that's incredible
Great
advice.
advice.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
we'll
we're on like the
conclude.
wavelength
I
right
know.
there. Well, yeah, thank you again. Thank you so much for
So
covering,
much.
taking time out of your day, like I mentioned earlier. Down below we'll have Connor's LinkedIn. If any student, Cal Poly students or anyone wants to ask him any questions, I'm sure he'd be more than excited to answer them. But yeah, again, thank you so much for coming here, and like I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Connor. It was so nice being able to chat with you. And I know so many students and so many people who are listening will love to hear what you have to say. Incredibly valuable advice and information that you gave us today. And yeah, thank you.
Sweet. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah.
That's it.